we need one more input field for genre, but that's going to be a drop-down list. So back here, first we need the label, HTML.label for m goes to genre. Our view model does not have a property called genre, so we can use ReSharper to automatically create this. If you're not using ReSharper, just go back to the class and create a property. So here I press Alt and Enter. The first option is create property genre. I'm going to set the type of this property to integer. Because with drop-down lists, we need the numeric value for each option. So this is going to be the genre ID as stored in the database. Now Control Tab, back here. So we got the label. Let me scroll down a little bit. Now let's create a drop-down list. So HTML dot drop-down list for m goes to m.genre. Now the second argument is the source of the drop-down list, the options we're going to put there. So in our view model, we need the list of genres from the database. So Control and Tab, a new property, IEnumerable of genre. And I'm going to call it genres. You could use a list here or a collection, but we're not going to add anything to this list or use any of its options using an index. So IEnumerable is the simplest interface that gives me what I want. Now back to the view. We need to create a select list. The first argument is the source of data. So that's going to be model.genres. The second argument is the name of the property in the genre class that should be used for the values of these options. So that's going to be ID. The third argument, name. So the name property of the genre class is going to be used for displaying the label of these options. Now, because we have changed our C# code, the view model, we need to build the project again before previewing. So Control-Shift-B, Alt and Tab, back to the browser, Control and R to refresh. We got a null reference exception because we didn't populate the genres property in the view model. So that's the job of the controller. Let's open up Gigs controller. Control-Shift-N, Gigs controller. If you're not using ReSharper, you need to go to Solution Explorer and under controllers, open Gigs controller. So you see ReSharper is a lot faster. So here, we need to get the list of genres from the database. The first thing we need is a DB context. So private application DB context. That's the DB context that comes in our project template by default. Namespace is resolved, and I'm going to call it underline context. We need to initialize it in the constructor. So ctor tab, that's the code snippet. Underline context equals new application DB context. Now, in case you're a bit more experienced, you might ask, what about dependency injection? What about the repository pattern and stuff like that? Don't worry about this stuff at this stage. Let's focus on the problem we're working on, come up with a solution, and then we can gradually improve our solution. So don't get distracted by all these kind of architectural and design patterns. Now, we got the context. We need to create a view model and set its genre property. var view model equals new gig form view model, and genres equals context.genres.toList. That's it. Now I'm going to put this view model inside the view. Let's build the application. Control Shift B, Alt and Tab back to the browser, Control and R to refresh. All right, we got a drop-down list here populated with our genres from the database, but there are two problems here. First, jazz is selected by default. I want to have a blank item. Second problem is it doesn't have the look and feel of Bootstrap. So you should have rounded corners and a bit of padding. That's because we forgot to add the form control class. So back to the view. Control and Tab. So here's a drop-down list form method, right? Now I'm going to add a third argument, which is a blank string. That's our blank or default option. And the fourth argument is an anonymous object to add additional HTML attributes. Okay, save, Control S, Alt and Tab, Control R. Beautiful.